That's
Very good.
basically what I want to do there. Okay.
Very good.
Awesome. Well,
I'm gonna
I want to. Oh, go ahead. Mhm.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna change the name because we were doing a family something with the church and I had the family's name in the tagline. So let me just
Okay. Okay.
put
No
my
worries.
name in here,
Okay.
update it there.
Okay.
So everybody in your family doing okay?
Very well. Very
Good.
well. A little bit of transition. The kids are buying a house, and a lot of things are going on in that regard. And Jessica just got, did I tell you she completed her doctoral studies?
Yes,
And
that
so, yeah,
congratulations.
so everybody's in house hunting mode, and but it's good. It's very,
Okay.
very good. So we're excited about what's happening, and it's still excited in the midst of the pandemic that greater things are on the horizon.
That's good. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
for
is really,
sure.
really good.
Is Susan
It,
joining us today, you think? Or how are things?
I don't think so. I didn't give her because again, I know you were doing this for members, so I didn't give her the links. I didn't.
Please,
So
anytime. She is welcome. I mean, you're a corporate sponsor provider, so you can do
well,
whatever you want to do. Yes, please.
what I will do is I will while we're talking, I'll forward her the link because I didn't want to assume, so I just
No,
didn't.
no. And we not only invited members, but we opened it up. So
Okay,
um, we're looking forward to I'm hoping people will join us and just join right in. Sometimes we have more on Facebook Live, just so you'll know, than we have on the Zoom call, on the Zoom
okay,
platform. So know that. But, and lots of people on the replay. So we'll just carry on as if 100 people are here. Okay.
okay. We'll do. Sounds good.
Mhm.
Yeah, let me forward this. I'm not really good with this stuff. Let me try to see if I can figure out how to forward it to her. And no, that's not what I want to do. But I guess I will.
Now, I've got the link handy and I've got her in my phone. If you want me to send it over and
Sure,
just
that
tell
would
her I'm
be
sending.
if you have a moment to do that, because like I said, I'm
I
not
can
really
do
good.
that right this moment, and then we're gonna pray and we're gonna reach out there. Okay.
Okay, we'll do.
Hold on 1 second.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, I'm getting ready to get online. Sister Copeland's going to send you a link. It's like on Zoom or on Facebook. So if you want to get in, you can. I sent you an email, I think, and if you just tap on my picture, on my link, it should link you to the Zoom if you want to get on. Okay, thanks. You can do it on your phone. Just remember, it may be pictures, but yeah, you can do it on the phone. Okay. Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, she should have the link by now as well.
Okay, well, thank you.
Uh,
Like I said, I didn't, I didn't assume. I know we had for members, so I just said, okay, I'm gonna do it.
oh no! Oh my
And like I said,
God! And your sponsorship allows a number of people. I mean, I think it's like three people, four. I know
okay,
somewhere around there that are members' full benefits as others. Okay,
that's
so
great.
Father, we just thank you so much for this opportunity. We thank you for the Skeete household. We thank you for the practice. We thank you for all the wonderful things that you're doing in their lives. We thank you, Father God, for how they're undergirding GCBN. Pray for Dr. Skeete's health and wealth, and bless everything that concerns him. Be with us on this call. You go before us. Bring your people from the northeast, south, and the west, that you might be glorified and your people are edified. Let us just flow as we always do. And Father God, we just thank you for how you are moving even in these times in the health of people's eye care and their health overall. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Amen.
Amen. Okay, so we're going over to Facebook and we're
Okay.
going to connect with our GCBN Facebook page, and people will be able to connect with us from there. So within the next couple of seconds, we're going to post it on our Facebook page for Georgia Christian Business Network. Chose that. And we're going to be live right about now. Dr. Skeete, you have always been a blessing to the Georgia Christian Business Network organization, having joined us initially as a member. We've been in business for 10 years, and all of those 10 years, you have been a part of the organization. What I'm pleased is the last 3 years to announce is that you are a provider sponsor on the corporate level, corporate sponsorship, you know.
Yes.
So thank you for that level of support and your commitment to putting God back in business.
Well, you know, and thank you, and good morning, good afternoon to you and to everyone that's on the stream. It was, and so I have to give credit to my wife, because she was the one, as you know, this story, that she was the one that made the connection with you at the church, and it's been just worthwhile because you're thanking me, but in the 10 years as a business owner, you have blessed me. I mean, even today, you know, you being the lady of acronyms, and I love your acronyms with wealth. And I looked at that one, and I hope everybody who's on the stream
Okay.
has looked at wealth and what the acronym meant. And but yes, all the things that I've gotten you've reached us in business and the practice, because, you know, as we've all going through now this COVID challenge, there's a lot of challenges, and not even during this time, but even in the past as a business owner, you know, I've seen ups and downs in my business, even before the COVID challenge. And, you know, you never know, when we've come to the meetings, just some of the words of encouragement that you've provided to the members. And in fact, the fellowship that I've shared with some of the members has helped enrich me during the years in certain things when I have had ups and downs times in the practices. So I think, like I said, Georgia Christian Business Network has been a blessing to me, and the corporate sponsorship has been really just something I feel that I'm glad to have been able to give back to, because you've just enriched me so much in these 10 years.
Wow. Well, thank you so much. But first, I have to send a shout out to Lady Susan and say thank you, because we appreciate that she heard something in our presentation. I think it was at Pleasant Hill Church in Lawrenceville,
Pastor Dunnigan, yep.
She heard something in our presentation, and then she came back to you to say, this is something that she recommended that you check into to be a part of. And I mean,
yes.
I just love that. And so she sent you to us, and 10 years later, here you are on the GCBN platform, presenting multiple times. I don't know, I've lost count. Do you know how many times we had an opportunity to have you take the platform to share insights with our listening audience? And we appreciate that so much. The last time was last year, and you and Lady Susan accompanied you to, you were one of our last prior to COVID that
yes.
we were able to present before social distancing and quarantine. But one of the things that I want to share just right before you start your presentation, and you know how to keep your focus in a digital world, that maintain that, it's so important that people understand commitment and dedication. And times like these are challenging small business owners. And prior to our actually coming live here, I asked you, over the years of business, how many years you've been in business. And I want you to share that again with the listening audience. We've got a few people out there on Facebook Live. Okay, how many years have you been in practice?
I've been in practice, it'll be coming on 31 years in September, and I've been a small business owner now going into my 11th year. And I've been blessed because when I practiced in New York, I worked with an ophthalmologist, and he was such a great mentor, business owner, had great chairside manner. And so I learned a lot from him. And then when we moved to Georgia, started working with an optometrist that's my mentor now. And
Uh-huh.
again, got a lot of just great information and insight, not only of being a good doctor, but a good business owner. But you're going to have your highs and your lows, your pitfalls, your failures. And I've had many. In fact, even before this COVID challenge, this is actually the office that I'm practicing from now that I'm at. We took a little break here in the
Uh-huh.
middle of the day to be able to get onto the stream here. I actually sold one of my businesses because, again, the Lord blessed me with the two, but it was getting daunting. And unfortunately, financially, and just with all the demands, that office just wasn't doing what I needed to do. And after a lot of prayer, a lot of good support from my wife, who's my right hand and partner in crime, um, it was it was time to sell that business, but
Mhm.
there was a lot of challenges, a lot of days and nights when I said to her, and probably drove her crazy, that, I'm not sure if this is kind of where I needed to be. We weren't getting as many patients coming in. We weren't getting as many, in terms of just the dynamics of the office of what we need to see in terms of patient load and what we were seeing, particularly after having moved to a new location. There were just a lot of restless nights, of course, with a lot of prayer and a lot of support. The Lord carried me through, but during that time, He's a good God, but we don't always get the things we want at the time we want. And that's where you need a
Wow.
lot of faith, a lot of prayer, and a lot of good support. And I'm blessed that I have good support from my partner. And I also have, as I said, not to be patronizing, but I get a little great support from GCBN, because again, there was many times that I may have come to a meeting and you didn't know what was going on in my mind and my heart. And just being with you, fellowshipping, hearing some of the words of encouragement that you provided, talking with fellow business owners who
Wow.
had their ups and downs, it kind of inspired me. But again, what I do, and that's why I've always been a believer in my membership, is that we need to not put God back in business. God should be in business from the get-go. We want him to
Exactly.
stay in business and
Yeah.
rely on him, so that when you have those downs, yes, it's tough. It's really
Yeah.
tough when you're in the
Yeah.
down, but during those downs, you know that the Lord is there with you. You just have to listen to him and be patient. And as my wife would tell you, this sounds really good, but I'm not that patient all the time. So, you need that kind of, refresh and that support to
I
remind you,
hear
hey, it's going to
you.
be okay.
Dr. Ski, as I listen to you, I need our listening audience to just, if you would just give him a virtual clap or a clap where you are, because when you've been in business for 30 years, now Lady Susan was on Zoom with us. Your wife, Susan Skeete, was on Zoom, but we missed her, but I'm going to get her back, hopefully, because I want her to hear what I'm saying right now, because I like what you said, partner in crime, but I say partner in success, is because there
Okay.
are some times that, no, we don't know, but she knows. She has that partner responsibility and role. Like
Yes.
even introducing you to GCBN 10 years ago. I may say this a couple of times throughout this message because it's so important for me and GCBN to communicate that you're our charter member. You've been with us through thick and thin, and you maintained your membership. I've never had to, I mean, it's just there, and then you took the initiative at a gala 3 years ago and said, you call me Sister Copeland, so I got to say it the right way. Sister Copeland, I'm hearing from the Lord that we're going to be corporate sponsors next year. And
Yeah.
that level of commitment, I think I cried then. I mean, I'm such a crybaby, but emotionally to hear someone that's been a member for 7 years at this point, and then since 3 years ago, consistently on the provider level, a corporate sponsor. And even with your practice having moved, selling one of the businesses in, what was it, January? After
We
my last
sold
appointment was
this
December.
December 31st was the last day of 2019. And so January
Okay,
1st, we started with just one practice. And, you
okay.
know, yeah,
But the one practice in Gainesville. And I'm encouraging our members, as my family and several other members that patronize your business, to continue to take that drive. We drive to Atlanta, we drive everywhere else. We're driving to Gainesville to get good eye care. You
thank you.
know, you're an awesome optometrist, and we want to continue to do that. So we're going to have some opportunities over the next several months to help drive business in that direction, because we want you to stay in business, because you keep us in business as well, and we appreciate that.
It's my honor.
Today, I know that you have some awesome information to share, and I want to just allow you to jump right in there and begin to share as the Lord's given you direction with us.
Yes. Well, thank you, and thank you for the time. And as I said again, it's been my honor. And as I said, I can't tell you you're thanking me, but I just thank you, and I thank your family for all your love and support. And we just keep buying each other. But again, to everyone there, I thank you for this opportunity to speak with you. It's kind of interesting because it's amazing that we have, the Lord is a good provider. I mean, to be able to still come and talk with everyone in this type of platform, it's kind of interesting to be able to still fellowship, even though we're not physically together, but to be able to do it this way. But with that being said, as you know, being an optometrist, I'm very passionate about the eyes. And one thing I always say to folks is I would love our members to come to Gainesville. In fact, as members of GCPN, we also try to honor our members by providing them with a GCPN discount when they come to our practice for their eye examination. So
Thank
just
you.
please keep that in mind. We've maintained that in all the years, even when I wasn't a corporate sponsor.
You sure
My,
did.
but my commitment is just making sure that if you can't see me, that everyone does have an annual eye examination. There's so much about our body that
Mhm.
we can glean by the eyes. The eye is our window literally to the world and to our soul. And as an optometrist, I can tell people a lot about their eyes just by looking inside the eyes. Now, my main focus right now, and the topic of the presentation is there's how to keep your focus in a digital world. Right now,
Mhm.
just like we're on the Zoom platform and Facebook platform, we're doing a lot more digital screen time, digital time, whether we look at our cell phones or on the computer, on our laptop. And a lot of the patients that I've been seeing have been somewhat concerned because there's a lot of misinformation out there about whether computers damage the eye, or
Mhm.
am my children damaging their eyes because they're spending too much time looking at the computers, and a lot of different information out there. So
Mhm.
what I want to kind of cover in no quick order, but I just want to kind of talk about some of the things that we can do, since that right now we are having to do more digital time, whether we're learning remote learning or we're working from home. Even in my field, a lot of eye doctors, not optometrists, because we really need to have the physical contact in order to give you the prescription. We have to do what we call a refraction. But
Mhm.
for some of my colleagues whose practice are dedicated to medical eye care, telemedicine has now become very popular. So a lot of optometrists and ophthalmologists are actually on the computer doing
Mhm.
consultations with the computer. So the digital has become sort of our quote unquote, as everybody's saying, the new normal for us. So what are some
Yeah.
of the things
Yeah.
we can do to help us to keep those eyes healthy and not be strained? Well, the first and foremost, and I don't know if anybody has access to chime in, because I'll be rolling if somebody has a question or a point that they can get on in, but I would be, ask people, are they finding right now they're spending more time on the computer? If anybody
Uh-huh.
has a chance to engage. And if no one does respond, I would make the assumption that probably most of us are spending more and more time. And the number one thing that really does affect us by being on the computer is the fact that the number one diagnosis in eye care now is dry eye, because
Uh-huh.
many of us will basically be affected by dry eye simply because when we look at digital devices, we tend to blink less. Therefore, our eyes dry out more. In fact, I was researching last night where someone says on average, we typically make about 17 blinks a minute. But
Mm-hmm.
when we're on the screens, we get so engaged in what we're looking for at that those numbers tend to drop from 17 down to as low as 5 to 7. And
Wow.
so what happens is blinking is very important because I tell patients, think of the blink being comparable. Think of your cornea, which is your window to your world, as
Mm-hmm.
being analogous to your windshield on your car. Think of your blink as being your blinking, your blink being your wiper and your tears being your wiper fluid. When you don't use
Mm-hmm.
that wiper and that wiper fluid on the windshield of your car, you're not going to see out that windshield. It's going to get coated and hazy. And that's the same thing that happens when we don't make complete blinks. So the dry eye conundrum is a really big challenge for folks because when we get involved with these devices, inherently we don't make those complete blinks. So a couple things we like people to do or commit to is that every hour that you're on a computer or a screen, it's probably a good idea to take a minute to look away and make
Uh-huh.
a complete blink. Now, the other thing in that whole process is why I say to look away is that if you think of most creatures in nature, most animals' eyes are positioned up and out. Very
Uh-huh.
few animals' eyes are down and in. They're up and out for protection, defense. We're the only
Right.
beings that keep the eyes down and in. So when the eyes are down and in, the eyes also get fatigued because we're in this
Right.
convergent posture. And whenever you bring things close, your eyes have to work harder. So to kind of kill two birds with one stone, I encourage patients on screen time to take a minute to look away, give your eyes a chance to break, and then make
Uh-huh.
that complete blink. Now, there's
Wow.
a rule that's called the 20-20-20 rule, where they say that for every 20 minutes, you should take 20 seconds to look up at 20 feet.
Ah,
The problem is that 20 minutes comes pretty fast, and people are not going to
yeah.
do that 3 times an hour. So I think the more practical thing to do is every hour, take a minute to just look away, let your eye muscles relax, take a little bit of strain off those eye muscles. And that's what we consider as really good visual hygiene. Now, the issue with the dryness of the eye is that looking at the screen is not the only reason why people's eyes will dry. Dry eye
Uh-huh.
is very common because so many conditions cause dryness of the eye. If I see
Okay.
patients here in this practice, and now we're seeing about maybe 13 patients a day, I will have this conversation 13 times because just living in Georgia, being on the computer, those two things alone will dry the eyes out. You add
Wow.
arthritis, diabetes, um, many other systemic conditions, those also will cause a person's eyes to dry, dehydrate. So what we just want folks to do is to take a moment to look away. The other thing too is we want people to be very proactive in drinking water, keep their bodies
Okay.
hydrated. Now, I'm a diabetic,
Okay.
and that's another thing that I say as a testimony because when I was diagnosed as diabetic, I was not really happy about that. My wife would tell you I was pretty kind of frustrated because I'm usually in good health and exercise and do everything. But I look at me being a diabetic as being very important that the Lord doesn't put on you more than you can bear. And I think as a
Right. Right.
diabetic eye doctor, I can relate to people with diabetes a lot more efficiently. But just being a diabetic can cause your eyes to dry out. So what I do
Uh-huh.
typically during the day is drink water. I keep my body hydrated, but I think the average person should do that too. So blinking, staying hydrated. But the other thing too, of course, the number one thing that people need to be prepared in doing is putting in artificial teardrops, lubricating
Ah.
those.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know if anybody else on the line is experienced with teardrops or if they're using any drops, and I would love to hear what people are using. Because
Uh-huh.
if people are using what's called Visine or Murine or Clear Eyes, please stop
Uh-huh.
using those medications. Those are the worst things that people can ever put in their eyes. And the reason being is marketing can be very powerful. Marketing can be very impactful if it's done right. We've been conditioned to correlate irritated eyes with Visine, murine, and clear eyes. But those are actually the worst things to put in the eye because they don't lubricate the eye. All they really do is take the retinas out by shrinking blood vessels. That's the worst thing you can do. And because those vessels get dilated to give you oxygen if you're not getting oxygen from the surface. Or those vessels are dilating if you have a potential infection. So when you're putting Visine, murine, and clear eyes in your eyes, you're actually making those vessels get smaller, which is choking the eye and could adversely not only affect you from having more dry issues, but also can cause you to have problems if you have high blood pressure because it affects the blood pressure medications. So please, folks out there, don't use Visine, murine, clear eyes, and those companies probably wouldn't be happy with me, but I don't have any financial investment in them anyway, so I'm not really concerned about that. But just get on teardrops. Now, the challenge for people is that there's so many products out there on the market. When you go down the aisle of your pharmacy or your Walmart, your Kroger, you will get down the product line and see tons of products. So what I'll say to patients, there's about 40 teardrops on the market. Anyone that says lubricating drops, artificial tears, those are fine. Anything that says allergy or take the retinas out, those you want to stay away from. So again, if anybody has any questions about the type or the brands that I recommend, I'd be glad to share that with you. But I guess some brands that I think you'll find relatively more available will be something called Refresh, Blink, there's Sustain, there's Gentile. There's a host of these artificial teardrops, and those are kind of what I would recommend people look at. I see you have yours.
Refresh Plus. Listen,
Plus.
I've been really good. I have to interject at this point. Please. My optometrist has my husband and I on the teardrops, and we use Refresh Plus because the dry eyes that he's describing myself, and my husband, I think he's has dry eyes as well, right?
Yes, yes.
So I guess it's okay for us to say that on live. Dr. Skeete is very professional. He doesn't discuss anybody else's, because my husband came home from his doctor's appointment and was bragging about he has 20/20 vision, and I'm trying to have a conversation with Dr. Skeete, like, how does that so? He's older than I am or whatever, but there's a lot of conditions, as he's explaining, that goes into that, and he'll share more. I want to share one comment, and then I've got Miss Susan on the line with us, so I'm going to acknowledge her in just a second. But Jennifer Eichelberger is saying this is great information on our Facebook feed there. So we've got people there. I put the question out there to some of you that are on Facebook. Thank you so much for joining us. We've had up to 8 people over there. But Summer, I asked a question, are you spending more time on the computer, and any experience with teardrops? Please let us know. We've had an opportunity for Moth to join us. Alexandra, same last name as you, is on the line. Skeete. I assume that is a daughter there.
That's our oldest daughter.
Oldest daughter. Hello. Welcome to the call, you all. And Miss Susan, I've been trying to send you a shout out here. And I'll say it as many times as I get that opportunity. Thank you, thank you, thank you for your foresight to see that your husband should be a part of this organization. Thank you for going home and saying, hey, I think this is something you need to know about. And here we are 10 years later. So thank you, thank you, thank you for that. We're glad that you both are corporate sponsors of Georgia Christian Business Network. You support our vision and undergird it to put God back in business. And a shout out to hello everyone from Alexandria. So there we are. This is good, because that dry eyes is something else. I'm glad that I opened about you're thinking you're lubricating, but the opportunity, if you're not utilizing the correct drops with medication that you need, you're actually causing more of a damage.
Yes.
You know.
And to piggyback on what you said, the good thing about the teardrops is it's not medicine. It's basically some type of a viscous agent and water, saline. And what happens is we
Mm-hmm.
don't want people to use regular water, particularly tap water. In fact, that's the worst thing that people can ever put in their eye because the water from the Chattahoochee has so many impurities and bacteria. And unfortunately, water does wet, but water doesn't lubricate. So for example, if someone is at a plant, because here in Gainesville, we have a lot of industries here, and we get a lot of people from the poultry industry here in Gainesville, from Kubota, some of the big businesses here. And when they have emergency eye wash stations, they have their saline. Now, granted, if God forbid somebody did get something in the eye and they need to flush the eye out, they have no saline available, then of course they have to use whatever water they can. But in a
Mm-hmm.
perfect situation, saline is what you want to use to rinse or flush the eye out. But the problem is saline by itself, or water by itself, doesn't lubricate the eye. So when people use these teardrops, if they notice, if they take and you were a great patient because you have the little unidose ones. We love those because they're preservative free. And I'll come back to that in a moment. But what happens is when you do have to flush the eye out with saline, the saline water rinses, but it doesn't lubricate the eye. And that's why when you take these artificial teardrops, they have some sort of viscosity because it's the viscous agent that
Okay.
keeps the tears on the surface of the eye. And that's what makes the different brands out there different in that, not to get too technical, but there's three lubricating agents that they use in teardrops. They either use oil or they use something called mucus or mucin or glycerin. And that's why some teardrops may work for some people and others for the other, because you might do better with an oil base, a lipid base. I might do better with a mucus base. So what I tell people, I'll say to people, maybe get 2 different brands of artificial tears. Put brand A in the right eye and brand B in the left eye for a couple days.
Okay.
And 3 days later, flip. After the end of the week, if one of the brands does the better job in lubricating both eyes, that's the brand you use. So Brother Jerome might do better with Sustain. You might do better with the Refresh. So that's why it could be different for different people. So they do similar things, but it's the lipid or the viscosity agent that makes a difference. Now the question always comes up is how many times a day do you need to use them? And it depends on the person. Many people like me sleep with the eyes open at nighttime. So for me, putting the drops in the morning works better because that's when my eyes are the driest. Because I'm a diabetic, I drink water throughout the day. So I always have stayed hydrated. So for me, teardrops during the day, I don't need them because I'm hitting it when it's at its worst, but everybody's different. So, people can't overuse them. They just use them when you need them.
Wow, that's pretty awesome. But I utilize, because I had reached out to you a couple of months ago and I felt like I had rocks in my eyes.
Yes.
And so you told me to do it at morning and night, to administer the drops in the mornings and night. And I want to report that, oh my God, what a difference already. And consistently was my thing, because I might miss a day or whatever, but I think consistency has something to do, because you said make sure you're doing it daily is what you had said to me. And I have been able to recognize a considerable difference, for sure.
Yeah, everybody can be different, but the thing that I tell people is that they can't overuse them. Now, the one thing that I like that you have is I like the little plastic tubies. Because there's enough in the plastic tube for both eyes, and they carry well because this way you don't have to carry a bottle with you. You and Brother Jerome can use the same box of 30 and take 5 for you, 5 for him, and you're not contaminating. And they're preservative free, because the thing that many people get concerned about is when they put most drops in the eyes, the drops burn. And the reason why the drops burn is not because of the medicine in the drop, quote unquote. It's really the preservative that prevents the drop from becoming contaminated. So when you get these drops in the little uni dose, like you showed everybody on the feed, those are
Right.
preservative free because they're vacuum sealed. So that's why they're as natural. And so those are considered called preservative free. And for people that may be a little bit super eye sensitive, preservative free drops are basically the way to go. So you were a great patient. Thank you for showing that out there, because that's the kind of ones you want to have. And most of these companies now do preservative free teardrops.
Excellent. Awesome. Awesome. Well, this is information that is so eye-opening, if you will, for a lot of people. And so we appreciate your sharing that. What other tidbits would you share? Because one of the things that I know, as you're talking about the use, we didn't get any feedback on, are you spending more time on the computer, but I have evidence for me personally that I'm spending more time, because my phone sends me a weekly report and it's
Yes.
saying to me either your screen usage was either up or down, and more consistently is up. And I'm
Yes.
trying to look for ways to get that down. One thing I'd like for you to speak to that, but one thing that I'm doing is trying to not use my phone much or my computer on the weekend as much, to take, I don't know if checking out on a weekend or if I need to do something on a daily basis. I'd defer to you to help with
Well, what
that.
happens to everybody on the feed? Again, everybody's using this term, the new normal, but let's just look at it this way. This is our culture even before COVID. I mean, everything now is going to computer. So I had two other little tidbits that I wanted to give. The dry eye piece was the biggie, because dry eye doesn't even just have to do solely with the computer use. It's exacerbated by the computer use. But it's something that can happen or affect us across the board, but it's going to be more exaggerated now because we're doing more computer work. A second thing, because I don't think we can get away from the computer work, and particularly with our students now, remote learning and maybe having to go to that full time, will be the other issue with your overall homeostasis or your body balance. I
Mhm.
think one thing that we want people to do is to have beside, we talked about taking the rest breaks, but just having the computers positioned in a proper spot. And how I mean by that is, for example, people my age,
Mhm.
and young people like you, we wear the progressive glasses, and we've had this conversation before. And you remember when
Yeah.
people wear these progressive or no-line multifocal glasses, my glasses have in them 11 levels of graduations. And my glasses help me see from 20 feet down to 16 inches. Well, if you follow the math, in my 11 level glass, a level number 9 is where my computer vision is. That's not the middle. So many people, doctors will say, oh yeah, your progressive glasses give you far, middle, and close. But
Uh,
they don't have it skewed symmetrically. Your computer vision is down in level number 9. So what we
wow.
want people to do is, when they have their screens, to try to position their screen below eye level. So for example, I'm on a laptop with my camera. So I'm
Okay.
in a perfect position because I'm looking perfectly through level number 9. If your monitor is up, like my monitor behind me here for my patients, I would wind up
Uh-huh.
spending my day looking like this to see through level number 9.
Oh,
So
okay.
what we want folks to do is try to position their devices below eye level. If they can't position their workstation, then they may have to consider getting an occupational pair of glasses for just work at the computer. So it's like making a single pair of glasses, which takes level number 9, and that becomes their computer glasses. We don't
Okay.
really want people to have multiple pairs, but if you're going to be on the computer, you want that, because ergonomically we can get stressed out. We're already stressed enough already with all the things we're doing with this COVID
Yeah.
challenge. But if you're in the wrong position, head and neck, ergonomic wise, that will make people get fatigued faster. So how you
Oh,
position your workstation is very critical. Try to put the monitor down. That's why laptops are great, tablets are great. The other thing we encourage people to do is, because like right now, the way my office is set up, and I couldn't maneuver it, but I'm getting a little bit of glare coming from behind because of the way I'm
mhm.
positioned. We like to enhance you see in the screen by having your light source perpendicular to where you are. Having the light source behind you, you get glare coming from behind, illuminating the screen. If the light source is in front of you, you're looking into the glare. So if you can have your window to the side, or you can have your light on the side, or you can take the lamp, and I don't want to go out of screen, but I have a lamp here that I give to patients to help them read the near chart. And you can position that light down on what you're doing. That's going to reduce some of the glare coming from the screen, and that will help you a lot with the ergonomics and the positioning and how you have your workstation set up. So that's another thing that you can do that's part vision, but just maximizing how your workspace is set up.
Wow. Wow. So just making adjustments in lighting, and to me, that's preserving the strain, is it, on you? Because the way, and even other parts of your body, because,
Yes.
you know, I'm now, you know, you said young lady, you know, you and Susan were at my 60th birthday party, and that was a couple of years ago. A little bit. Okay. Hi, Carla. Thank you for joining us. You were there too, so most people know that. So, but I'm dealing with the arthritis in my neck, and they told me 4 years ago, honestly, my doctor did. I didn't believe her. Listen, guys, this is just from Beth and aside. If the doctor says something there, like Dr. Skeete's telling us things to do, listen to them, okay? And so she told me, I said, I didn't even come for that. We didn't even x-ray for that. I don't have any arthritis. And I love faith and all of that because I'm a woman of faith. But the lady saw arthritis in my neck. Okay, 2 years later, here I am. And really maybe 3 years later. And I've got to go for therapy because, you know, and I think what you just described, and this is like a light bulb, the reason I even thought of it is because of what you described. I've not had the computer position like I'm doing now.
Yes.
And that possibly contributed to that over time,
Yeah,
you know, or it certainly didn't happen.
The ergonomics of the workstation, again, this is not my area, but I correlate it to everything with the eyes, the ergonomics and how you position things, because we get so many people that have the right prescription, but they get frustrated looking through their progressive glasses because they feel that they're doing this, and you don't realize that you're doing this all day. And so the positioning of it, and sometimes I'll have patients where I'll say, well, Mrs. Jones, your prescription has stayed the same. It's just that you're not looking through the right part of the glass. And we try to adjust with the workstation or just give them an occupational pair of glasses just to use dedicated for that computer, particularly now that people are working from home. They're not really, you know, conversing or fellowshipping with their colleagues. They're just at that monitor for 6 to 8 hours. So again, we want to get them a single vision glass. Encourage them to get up, stretch a little bit. Now, again, that's not my area, but I just know that it's all, you know, reduce that stress. Now, another thing too, that goes back to the arthritis. Many people don't realize that the #1 side effect of arthritis is dry eye, because your cornea of your eye, your window to your world, your cornea is made up of nothing but collagen and nerve endings. So that's why when you get a flare-up of arthritis, you will probably have an increase in the dry eye symptoms. And again, I threw out the dry eye, but the classic signs of dry eye, and not everybody gets all these symptoms. But you said something earlier. You said you feel like you have gravel or sand in the eye. We call that a foreign body sensation. That's #1. #2 is the eyes basically burning. The third one is the vision going in and out of focus. It happens when you stare, it goes blurry. You blink, it becomes clear again, because that's the windshield wiper effect. The fourth one, excuse me, is the eyes getting red, because those are those vessels dilating to try to get oxygen, since you're not getting the surface to the surface. The fifth one is the one that really throws people off, because they'll come and they'll say, Dr. Skeete, you know, my eyes are constantly running water. They're always tearing. I'm not crying, but why are my eyes always running water? And that's because you're producing the wrong type of tears. Your tears are made up of 3 layers: oil, water, and salt. The oils come from the glands in the lid. The water and the salt comes from the glands up in the top corner. they're supposed to come down and blend with the oils. Well, when your body's not producing those three things in the proper proportion, the tear film breaks down. And so therefore you get the tears running out of the eye, but they're not staying on the surface of the eye. So those are the 5 signs of dry eye. And like I said, that last one throws people off because you're like, well, why would my eyes be dry if they're constantly running water? Well, it's because those tears are not staying on the surface of the eye.
Wow.
So those are things, or those are signs that you can say, well, okay, let me just put a teardrop in and see if it makes the eye, feel a little bit better, see a little bit better.
Whoa. Whoa. That
Um,
is just so informative right there. Jennifer made a comment that she's definitely spending more time on the computer. And I believe the things that you just shared help us to make the adjustments so that we're not straining the eye and putting more strain and pressure on the eyes. One of the things I think, being that we are digital right now, you mentioned this earlier, but I want to ask that you talk about the importance of the eye examination. And if I'm asking that prematurely, if you have some other things you prefer to share, please do so. But I want you to reiterate, because there were not as many people on the call, either on Facebook Live or Zoom, as there are now, that I would love for you to reiterate that information of the importance of that yearly exam.
I would do so. I did want to do one more thing because I know for the sake of time, but there was one third area, and then I'll talk about the annual examination. One thing that's a big issue, and which there's still a lot of supposition, is the whole thought about blue light. The new thing now that many people on the stream may ask, have questions about, is there's a lot of thought out there that blue light can be damaging to the eyes because we're spending more time on these computers. The cell phones, the computers basically emit the blue light. And there's studies that show that blue light can mess with our circadian rhythms, our sleep pattern. In fact, a lot of people use their cell phones for their alarm clocks. A lot of people look at their cell phone before they go to bed. And so a lot of people are finding that beside having sleep apnea and needing their CPAP machine, they're getting kind of restless sleep because they're ramped up. We know that blue light does stimulate what's called the melatonin levels. We need that for our energy. But the question is, are we getting saturated with so much blue light that it's just making us stressed out, ramped up? From my last studies and the things that I've looked at, there's still a lot of uncertainty there. I don't think that people should run out and buy blue blockers on their glasses as 100% guarantee that that's going to protect them. I think we need some levels of blue light. I think everything in moderation. Now, some of the people that I see who are IT professionals feel that when they put blue blockers in their glasses, they do feel that the blue blockers do make the world less intense. They don't feel they're getting this rush of light coming in. And so while that's not scientific, I defer to them because they do look at these screens all day. And I don't think that blue light blocking can hurt them. But I just think right now, if people have been told about that blue light protection, there's still a lot of uncertainties in that regard. So I think I would tell people to tread lightly in that regard. I would say if it's going to be something added to the glasses that's going to make the glasses cost prohibitive, maybe just kind of check and still see how that works. But I think there's still a lot more research that needs to be done about how much blue light we need to put in glasses. Now, a lot of the new computer monitors and cell phones actually have things added to them that you can block out some of the blue light intensity. I think most of these Android and Apple phones, iPhones will do that, and you can adjust it to your level of need. But I just think right now in glasses, it's still up in the air. So when you ask your eye doctor whether you should do it, I would say if you're going to spend 8 to 10 hours on a computer, it can't hurt. But I don't think any eye care provider right now is prepared to say, oh, you have to put it on there because it's going to protect you 100%. There's still a lot of uncertainty out there regarding blue light protection.
Whoa, awesome. I don't know if anybody's utilizing more protection than is already provided. But if you are, please let us know, chat us, or send some information through the Facebook Live news feed and let us know about that. If there's any assistance or questions that you have from Dr. Skeete in that regard, that'd be wonderful. Okay.
Definitely. And going back to, yes, I know we're getting close to close, but going back to what you asked me to talk about, yes, as I said at the beginning of my presentation, I do at all presentations. My practice would love to see our GCBN members, and as I've shared with Sister Beth in the 10 years I've been affiliated with GCBN, and I'm passionate about what she does and what GCBN does. And so we want to support our members. So I've always allowed in our practice a GCBN discount to our members when they come to our practice as a courtesy, a reduced fee on the examination. One thing that I do say to all members and to everyone, that the annual eye examination is just so important for everybody. The eye tells us a lot about the body. As I say all the time, it's the window to our world, window to our soul. So even if members can't see us, my main passion is for everybody to understand the importance of doing an annual eye examination. It's just important for everybody because the eye tells us so much about the body. So please don't let that go. Yearly checkups. In fact, what we tell here in our practice, we're really good in sending out annual reminders. But what I say to all our patients, if we drop the ball, we don't send a reminder. We always tell folks to try to leverage an important date. Birthdays tend to be a great reminder. Now, if the person's birthday is June 8th and they see us here on August 7th, 18th, that's going to put them a little bit early. So maybe use back to school or use a major holiday. Or, with all this digital technology, send a reminder on your phone that says, hey, it's time for my annual checkup.
There you
So,
go.
leverage the technology, we have it. So whatever you need to do to just do that annual check, just like we do our annual physical, annual eye examination should be a part of that as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm just excited to have you on the platform as always. Again, I have to stress this to the listening audience on Facebook Live that are tracking with us. Appreciate you all for your participation. For those of you here on the Zoom call, we just are just honored to have Dr. Skeete carve out of his time an opportunity to present to the GCBN members and community. And a lot of will come through on replays. I'm getting hearts and loves from Angela, Jennifer, Vicky Jumper's there. There are several people that are on Facebook Live that are saying different things. To say that this information is valuable. And so what I'd like to say to you is thank you from GCBN for not only the membership for the past 10 years and sponsorship for the last 3, but your commitment to being a practice of putting God back in business, using the principles, providing the GCBN discount. These are ways that customer service enter your business, because you made a comment, and I'm not sure it was prior to our going live, but you made a comment, and maybe it was just at the very beginning, that your practice is important, your skill, but also your business and your business ethics is important to God. And one of the things that, and I know we're near the end here, and we've got some things, but we block out till 1. So we will go over just a little bit into that time frame that we usually protect. But what would you say would be the number one thing that you would put out there to encourage people, business owners or aspiring business owners, having been in business for 30 years? You've seen a lot, you've been through. I know these are called unprecedented times. However, there are times in 30 years that you've had experiences where maybe there were more lean opportunities than bountiful. I don't know how to say that, but could you speak to that a little bit to encourage our?
Yeah, surely. I mean, first and foremost, it's also the mantra of what GCBN represents. Um, Again, you have it as putting God back in business. Well, the thing is, God should always be in business. And
Yeah.
through the ups and downs, just knowing that he's going to order your steps. So a lot of prayer is number one. Number two is just also, even in those challenging times, stay true to yourself. I mean, we never, the main thing is that my main goal is to definitely take good care of our patients, educate our patients on the points of eye health, and stay true to that. We don't cut corners or try to, do things just to make a dollar. I mean, the Lord will provide. So even in those times, it's a struggle. You get discouraged, but I would
Uh-huh.
say when you're in those times, that's when you definitely speak to other people, other business owners, which is why I love the fellowship of GCBN, because you don't have to really go into detail necessarily, but you'll be surprised that other business owners and other people there have gone through the same thing and can just say a certain word that may make the difference for you. So I think being part of an organization like GCBN is a great resource. Having a great support, as I said, finding someone, in my case, it's my family, particularly my wife. But just again, not getting discouraged. And I think that's even more critical now because we have a lot of challenges now with what we're going through with this COVID-19. I mean, we're spending more funds in trying to maintain with the PPE, keeping everybody here in the practice safe and healthy. And that also messes with the quote unquote bottom line. But that's what we have to do. We have to protect our team, protect our patients. So, while yes, we would love to be taking in more funds, but we know that we have to do the right thing to protect each other. So I think it's just, again, in those challenging times, which we're all going to get, I think that's what makes you even a stronger business owner. And that's where, when you get through those challenging times, you get on your knees and you thank God because He will provide, but you have to remain just steadfast and faithful. And that's really the best I can do because that's really what's happened to me in my highs and lows. I've just prayed to Him incessantly, and I still pray. So that's the best advice I can give: is trust God, and He will order your path.
Wow, that is so awesome. Thank you so very much for sharing that information with us. The thing that I want to say too to you all is hearing Him, sustainability is God that is on His platform. Uh, it's God that's the basis, and it's unfortunately we do have to say putting God back in business, but just like prayer out of school, it's the opportunity that we're having to put God back where He never should have left anyway, because it is God that gives us the power, Deuteronomy 8:18, to get wealth. And if we're in business and we're creating wealth, that's why you made mention of wealth, the acronym, and Vicki Jumper was on the call on Facebook side. She actually was so moved by that that she printed it out, put a picture with it, and hung it in her office. And so
Yes.
the thing that we have to do is to make certain that we model for other people what it looks like to have God in business. You're not optometrist, thank God for your partner, Lady Susan, being that support, looking out to identify what has synergy with your practice, because the business side is equally important as the skill and the technical side, is that
Yes.
we have to have a business that represents God. And I want to share with those that are on the call that are not already currently GCBN members, we welcome you to join our efforts to support our vision to put God back in business. Dr. Skeete and Lady Susan have done a marvelous job of showing what support and commitment. Those times in the last 10 years that it might have been challenging, oblivious to us, they maintain their GCBN membership or sponsorship. So what I'd like to say is salute you, say thank you, because my huddle this morning with Nova Logic was on guide, and we came from Isaiah 58:11, and the G in God, if we want God to guide, we've got to learn how to give. That was my acronym. My first letter is give. And I want to salute you and Lady Susan for giving and to sow on good ground. And I believe that GCBN is good ground, and not because of Beth Copeland, not by any means. Oh no, on my best day, I couldn't have created this. I mean, I'm pretty good, but I couldn't have come up with this one, okay? But it is God. When you name the name of the Lord and you say that he's covering your business, and you go around and promote and become connected with an organization such as GCBN, I believe that God's word is true, and it shall not return to him void, that he will do exactly what he said he'd do. Look up Isaiah 58:11, because we just talked about it this morning for my standing huddle with facilitating to the Novalogic and Cornerstone team. God wants to water that drought, bring you water in a drought. And he said, you'll be light in obscurity. Oh my God, that sounds like an oxymoron to me. Who's got light and obscurity? Are you serious? Yeah, God can do just that for you. Just like he's kept Susan and Dr. Skeete in business for 30 years, members of GCBN, members/sponsors for 10 of those years. God can do the same for you. He has no respect of person. What he does for one, he'll do for the other. So we applaud Dr. Skeete. We ask you to please continue to support their practice out in Gainesville, and we'll put that information out in our Facebook group and on our page as well, Dr. Skeete.
Thank you.
One other thing I want to bring the attention is we're here every Tuesday at noon for our Tuesday Take Charge Tuesday empowerments. We have Tanae Akalatse next week, and she's going to talk about virtual learning opportunities and how to get the best and the most out of virtual learning these days. And she's called the virtual learning guru, because she's been doing this forever. She's been teaching online for a university for 5-10 years prior to COVID. So this is nothing new for her. And so what she's doing is she's going to share it with our audience. What I'd like to ask everybody that's on this call, either Facebook Live or Zoom, please, please, please join us on the 28th for Ursel Charles. He's the VP of Global Training and Development, and we are privileged to have him as a friend of GCBN. He is powerful, just what you experienced today, how informative. Our people are professional presenters such as Dr. Skeete. Ursel Charles is going to bring us information on how to reset, because COVID-19 has been challenging for everyone, but it is not bigger than God. And there have been some great opportunities to win in the midst of this. God allowed this to come. COVID didn't tell God. God had to get permission from God to even come on the scene, and God allowed it. And whereas myself and some of you would say, we don't understand its purpose, we don't have to. All we need to do is stay focused in this digital world, focused on God, who is the author and the finisher of our faith. And I promise you, God has a plan, and we are part of it. So what Ursel is going to help us to do is to be able to reset. If you started the year focused on a vision that God had given you, God wants to bring that to full fruition. He hasn't stopped, or it hasn't been interrupted by COVID. So what we need to do is to help you reset. So please join us for that call on the 28th. It's free for members, but it's a $20 cost for non-members. So please help us promote that. That's going to be a 2-hour seminar. Also, we're going to have Lisa Muth bring a project management tool that's going to help you be more efficient in how you do business. Listen, join our network. We're here. We're putting God back in business. Keep us in your prayers. Patron Dr. Skeete's business. Susan, thank you so much. God bless you. And all of those on the calls. Any final words from you, Dr. Skeete?
No, just keep everybody in thoughts and prayers. Again, stay safe, healthy. Just continue to protect each other. And again, keep God in your business. God bless
Awesome.
you.
Excellent. Thank you so very much for joining us, everyone, on Facebook Live. Those of you on Zoom, we've got great participation. And Dr. Skeete, the replay will be available on our Facebook group, so more people will get that opportunity to hear the great information that you shared on the replay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. God bless you. Again, we're going to let you go back to work. You've already seen 5 patients today, and you said after lunch there was another 5 or 8 or something like that. You said.
But that's okay. We're good.
Oh my God.
That's a
Thank
blessing.
you.
And
We're
thank you
so
for
blessed.
everything.
God
Thank
bless
you.
you. Thank you so much. All right. Have a good day, all.
Take care. Bye now.
Take care. Bye-bye now.